everybody. Hey, welcome to the show, Film Festival Live and filmfestivallive.com. Go there, all right? And also Instagram, Film Festival Live. It's Friday, and if you're watching this live, which, by the way, we're on a couple of Facebook Lives, YouTube, Twitch, all these other different places. So if you have a question for me or the guest, this is the time to do it. Again, go to the website because every time we do a show, last show, which was early this week, awesome filmmaker out of New York, and she is doing some great stuff. So, you know, you want to look because we're posting them there and putting information as to how you can get a hold of them or do what you want to do. All of this really is to facilitate you as a creative. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited by all the stuff that is happening. And I'm also really excited that, I have two new agents, okay? One of them is kind of a manager, but I'm excited only because I say that, for all of you going, well, I'm an agent, is that I spend so much time myself doing a lot of my own marketing, because, by the way, remember, in show business is the word business. And most actors I know forget that part. And everybody else, they go, all right, I made a film. Where is everybody? It's just not that easy. So I'm excited because there's lots of stuff that I'm going to be pushing to you in the next couple of weeks that allow you to get all that you can get out of your career, including our guest today, which, by the way, is a monumental, subject. You know, I've had Jared on, who has a lot of different things he does, including a course like this. But I want to give equal and fair time to everybody because this subject that we're going to talk about today is not only the elephant in the zoo, it's the Jurassic Park in the room. It is memorization. And as my guest will tell you, and when I bring her on, you'll be very excited. So you better take notes. And I don't care if it's like this, or you're Siriing, or you're writing down with one of those things, an antique thing we call a pen or a pencil. Write this shit down. Because it's so important that you do this because, in my opinion, this subject today is the thing that is making and breaking most actors. And as my guest has said in her course, which, by the way, I did it, I'm doing it, I made the investment because a lot of times people go, yeah, I want to do this or do that. But they don't, they go, oh, you mean you got a price tag? That's part of the commitment, folks. That's a contract with yourself and the person. Because let's be honest, when someone gives you something free, best four-letter word in the English language, a lot of times you kind of go, yeah, it's cool, I'll get back to it. And you don't. And I don't know about you, but yesterday I was 25 and an actor. I'm not that Vampire Diary 25-year-old anymore. But I'm better. But I'm telling you the reason I'm better is because the industry's better. All that we have, all that our tools are better. I can shoot on my 13 Pro Max, which, by the way, I have a really cool segment in the show that I might show that was all shot on that, all edited, and you would think I did it in DaVinci or Final Cut if you know systems, because it's all that in a bag of chips. Point is that taking control of your career, and this is a great subject to start on. Before we go on, I have to say a sad note, and I truly mean this sincerely, that I hate to start off with a sad note, but it's also a moment of where people need to be conscious of this, and I don't care what you think, but a good friend of mine who was my agent for many years, I'm trying not to get emotional on this, but his name is Mike Gerard, and Esprit Agency. He was my agent for the last 5 years or so. Great guy. And when you get an agent that you can text, and he texts you or she, and they say, hey, got an audition, Actors Access, do this, you're awesome, you're amazing, you're wonderful. About 6 weeks ago, I was like, hey, Mike, what's up? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, whatever. And he's like, hey, how's it going, Will? Yeah, did you see the audition? Yeah, I did. It's great for Westworld, whatever. Yeah, I go, where are you? He goes, I'm in the hospital, and I have COVID. And I have to say, I'm just going to cut to the chase. He passed away yesterday. And the sad part about that is that he is an amazing guy and an amazing creative and was an actor at one point. And I just didn't expect that would happen to him. But I just have to say two things on that, and maybe this is what I would end my show with, is that start looking and paying attention to people. This shit doesn't matter as much. Life does. And pay attention to everybody and everything. And in regards to the COVID thing, do what you want. But I don't have really a lot of sympathy if you're just a conspiracy theorist and you think that, don't get this and that because the government's trying to do this and that. Well, maybe they are. But I really like it that the last 6 people I know that passed away that were anti-vaxxers didn't do that. But hey, all right, let's move on to the cheerful part of the show. So anyway, moving on, I just want to say that very excited about my guest. Her name is Joyce. And Joyce, I did not ask. She's in the wings. And so I don't know if she can hear me. But you're going to love this because this is like a massively comprehensive approach to not only memorization, but your acting. Because I'm going to ask this question to her, and I remember this in the course, is can you really, I hate the word act, can you really be if you don't know what the hell you were supposed to say or gonna say, or you're freaking out because you're like me, who, by the way, people go, man, you're an awesome actor. It'd be great if you could give me the cue line. Yeah, I know. So without further ado, I'm very excited to bring to you, I did not ask you how to say your last name, Joyce, but it doesn't matter. I hate last names. I will show you right now that the course looks like this. And it's actually, if you go there, and Joyce and I will give you all this information about where to go. Memorizing lines is hard, but it doesn't have to be. And that is true. And a lot of times you will look at these things, and look, if you think this is a pitch, it is. And the reason why it is, and I did not get any money, and I bought her course because, look, I know where I'm going into the next level, whether it's a regular, season regular, or whatever. I need this confidence, which I have obviously I have confidence, but in this area, I needed that, and I searched, and I found it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to bring to the show, and here she is, Joyce. Joyce, how do you say your last name?
My last name is Shay.
Oh,
a lot simpler than the way it's spelled. Yeah, there's like an extra H in there.
Yeah, there is, and I would have never known that. How do you memorize that one? Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited because, when I stumbled upon yours, because I was doing the Google search, and, by the way, found you on Google, just so I know, because I know how very methodical that you've laid this out and what you're doing. I bet you want to know that. But, it was very easy and very, I love the fact that I didn't have to try to guess what you were doing. And lo and behold, Teachable, I believe it is, teachable.com, is where you have on the platform. But let's start off in the beginning. Let's talk about, you're an actor. You've been an actor for how long? And give us a little background and give me something about why did you decide to do this? Were you a horrible line memorizer?
Yeah, well, I struggled with it like a lot of actors struggle with it. I feel like, a lot of folks just accept it as normal, that it's supposed to be hard and you're supposed to slog through it. So yeah, my background, I studied acting in college. I went to the theater school at DePaul University. I got a BFA in acting there. So my background is in theater. I did theater for several years. I did some film. I'm also a 3-day Jeopardy champion. So that is kind of the other side of my background, makes me kind of unique. And that's important to my story because I would say that it was kind of through my interest in trivia and learning about all kinds of stuff. I'm just a very curious person. And through, reading about different things, I discovered, I started reading a lot about memorization techniques and how we learn, cognitive science, things like that. And I found just a lot of really useful principles and techniques about how to learn more efficiently. And I realized that actors don't know about this stuff at all. And it would be extremely useful for actors to know about these things. They're really quite simple, a lot of the principles. So yeah, at some point I saw that I had this insight that could be very useful, and I wanted to create something that would be, particularly useful for actors because there was not a whole lot of good info out there.
No, there's a lot, but not a lot of good.
Right. A lot of it's kind of the same
Yeah.
stuff where it's like, yeah, just,
Wrote,
try writing it out by
yeah.
hand or something. Yeah. Record it on audio and just listen to it a bunch. It's all kind of the same theme where it's still, they're still just trying to do it in the most inefficient way
Sure.
possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a side note on that, by the way. First of all, I will say that as an actor, we go online now that obviously we have all the access to anything in the world, and we're all looking for the magic bullet or the cure, and I can't. I'm not gonna lie to you. I sat there looking, going, maybe there's one thing that when you press a button, it works. And there it just isn't. But what I am surprised at, and you kind of just alluded to this, is that why isn't this a normal have to with acting? I mean, we know that you don't have to have a degree to be an actor. You don't. Matter of fact, tomorrow, my best friend who works as a barista, he could go be a professional actor. There is no set on set. And Kevin E. West, a good friend of mine here in L.A., said, you don't need to have a degree. You just be an actor. But I guess I'm wondering why there isn't something, even in academia, as you go to DePaul, you go to L.A., whatever school. Why isn't this in there?
That's what I want to know, right? It isn't taught in school. It isn't taught in professional classes and stuff. I feel like it's the most overlooked aspect of being an actor. I mean, it's one of the most important aspects of being an actor.
If not the most.
Yeah, you can't do the job if you can't memorize your lines.
Yeah, because if you have the lines down, I don't care if I get a non-actor, which I would never want to do. But the point is that if you get someone that memorizes it, I don't want you to act anyway. What I'd like you to do is just tell me what you said. Do it again and say it like you would say it. You don't even need the acting part, but you need the memorization part.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know why. I think maybe it's just because we live in a world where information is very siloed in its own camp. It's kind of like this is one world and this is another world, and they don't really talk to each other. So yeah, I just think it's high time that we cross-pollinate the information a little more.
No, absolutely. And the bottom line is that, look, we know Meisner, we know Stanislavski, we know, why don't we know Shea? You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's like, oh, well, I studied with Uda. Okay, but do you have your lines down? No. And like you say in your material, we're just expected to show up and have it down. And some of the pitfalls on that is that acting instructors and people go, yeah, I don't want you to do this method because then you get it down a certain way, which I don't totally understand because for me, like I can do the line 17 different ways. But I don't know if memorization affects that, but I guess it does affect if you buy the acting course. So there you go.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of different advice out there when it comes to line memorization. And so it's not always consistent. Because, I mean, some teachers will say, just do it by rote. You got to do it by rote because otherwise you're going to get stuck in a particular interpretation or a particular line reading, and then you won't be able to be flexible enough to play. And so they're like, just do it by rote. But the problem is, rote doesn't work a lot of times for most people. It just doesn't stick. And so you end up wasting so much time by just like, and you're bored as all hell, right? By, it's horrible.
It is horrible. And if you're in the middle of a scene on stage and then someone sneezes and you're like, oh, well, I'm lost. And you're lost and you're sitting there going, and point is that then you have to depend on something else that a lot of actors I know don't really work on, which is improv. But no one really wants you to improv because you don't remember your line.
Yeah. That's an interesting conflict sometimes. I feel like it probably differs depending on like the project you're doing, like whether they're like sticklers about getting it word for word correct, the script, or if they, have more flexibility you can play. But yeah, I think it's important to be able to do both. like, and to incorporate that into your the way you practice.
I think that I think one thing about that comment is that I think it's gotten a little bit. I think it's gotten a lot looser in the last 5 to 10 years, and I'll tell you, I think I know why. I do a lot of commercial stuff as well, but you know, when you go into a commercial audition, which you know, is that they go, I don't really care. I don't care if you get the line right. Just give me your, like, you're pissed off, and then you're the father's whatever, and then you're gonna look over here. You know, a lot of it's MOS anyway, so it's without sound. And so the point is that I think a lot of directors I've worked with lately went, yeah, you can do that, but let's just do this where we improv. And the reason why is because you get real. You're not going to be or not to be, and then you're like, oh, I get it. You're whatever doing the line. So I think that might be the thing. So let's get back to you. So one thing that I really like about what you've done is that you're giving a lot of you're really covering all of it. You're saying acting, you're saying clinical, you're saying scientific, you're saying take care of yourself, you're saying stop drinking your coffee at 5 o'clock. My wife has said that so many times. She goes, you know, after 3, you know that's going to affect your sleep. What are you talking about? Anyway, I don't sleep anyway. I'm trying to edit something. Point is that I love the all-inclusive. Can you, sort of mind, body, soul, can you tell me, did you devise this idea going, okay, I know because you've read stuff and studied that these are little things that will help the end result? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so, you know, through my research and just reading about stuff, I kind of discovered there's kind of, well, I would say my method, you know, what I've done with my course and my teaching and stuff is kind of a combination of insights from 3 main fields of knowledge. And so the first one is cognitive psychology, or you might call it cognitive science, which is, you know, the research into the brain and the mind and how we learn and remember things most efficiently. And so that research has been going on for decades, and they've found a lot of principles that we can follow that, you know, these findings they come up again and again. They're very solid findings that, you know, we know this is how we learn best. So I've taken a lot of those principles. I would say those are pretty foundational. And then, you know, my second field of knowledge is mnemonics. I call it mnemonics or memory training. So these are like ancient mnemonic techniques. Yeah. So you're familiar with those.
Mind Palace.
Which
is what I was doing. And again, I got a stack of pictures of me going through my house and then laminating them and then leaving the back blank going blah, blah, blah. But, you know, we'll talk about that in a second. Keep going.
Yeah. So those techniques are really cool. If people don't know about them, you know, they go back thousands of years to, you know, the ancient Greeks and Romans when they were memorizing big speeches or they're memorizing texts. You know, back then, books were not easily readily available. It's just like, you know, on scrolls. But
Amazon scroll book. Yeah.
Amazon scroll, right. But yeah, so they have these really powerful techniques that they still live on today, where you have memory champions that will compete in tournaments and do these really cool. Ron White is one. I love those guys. Jim Quick is like another memory expert. You know, and if you see them, they are amazing. Like they seem like they're doing a magic trick or something, right? Because they're memorizing like 100 names and faces or like thousands digit
1,000
word, you know,
veterans at the wall, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. But they're actually just using these very simple techniques that anybody can learn. You know, anybody that you don't have to be a super genius or something to learn these things.
Or a magician.
Or a magician, because it's actually real. Yeah, so I use some of those techniques as well, and those I've found are really powerful for kind of just like getting that instant boost
Yeah.
with the line memorization. And then of course, my third pillar, third field of knowledge is the acting, modern acting.
Yeah.
And so things like actually delving into the script and looking for clues and figuring out why is my character saying those words and what are the intentions behind those words, getting really specific about that and fleshing it out in a meaningful way. Those types of techniques that we've learned in acting classes and stuff. That stuff is very useful, and that stuff does help with memorization.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well,
So
also, I mean, it also helps with your intention. I mean, no offense, but
Of course,
look, I mean,
yeah.
some of this because we've trained for so many years, and you say a lot of terms in your course, and then say, "Don't worry if you're a beginner. We'll get to this." But the point I want to make is that a lot of this stuff because we've been doing this, and many actors out there have been doing this a long time. We know we can engage into the parts where we're no longer acting, but again, these things that you're talking about are things that will really allow you to run free and not have to go, I don't even know, because nowadays with all the streaming stuff and all of the different things out there, and people trying to get series regulars or whatever, you have to have a toolbox that is the sharpest tools in the box. And I want to ask you, do people say to you, well, they probably wouldn't say this because it would be embarrassing, but I don't want to do all that work, because there is work involved, right?
Yes, there is work involved, even in my method. But my method is work, putting time and work towards things that actually will pay back.
Yeah, pay off.
Instead of spending time doing it by rote and then that goes nowhere, right?
Yeah, no.
So yeah, but yeah, I feel like I don't necessarily come across people that will say, "Oh, I don't want to do the work." If anything, people come to me and they're like, "I've been banging my head against the wall. I've been doing so much work and it's not doing anything and it's not helping." So I give them a set of tools that actually work for them, and then they're like, "Oh, this is amazing," and it actually cuts their practice time in half, or whatever. I mean, I have someone who actually told me it cut it in half for her.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, the thing again that I think I want to make clear about this, and look, again, I'm going to say this right out, is that I don't really do the show and go, I'm going to sell this or that. But look, I just think this is so important. To me, this is probably the most important subject you can do. If I was talking to just guys, I'd say other than dressing right and learning how to wear a suit and a tuxedo. They don't. They just don't. You go, wow, you look uncomfortable. Anyway, but this is so important. But the other benefit of this, because I have to tell you that I have studied the study of the memorization thing on all different levels, from Sherlock Holmes' Mind Palace, which is basically the Mind Palace, to Loki, same thing. All the different things, to writing out the letters, to rote, to lines, I have 17 apps. Because I do what I do and I'm extremely aggressive, I'm always trying to find something that will give me this thing where I can walk in, and my good friend Sean Kanan, who is on Bold and Beautiful and tells me he has 25 pages or 45 pages to memorize by tomorrow, I'm like, dude, can I have just a little of your DNA? What's up? But that to me is the thing that is, I would say, one of the biggest killers of auditions in the world. Because, hey, I know I'm a good actor. I know I'm a fantastic actor. I hate in-person auditions. You know why? Because I know I'm going to go up there and go, and they're going to go, wow, you were awesome last, I don't know what's going on. But why I'm saying this is because you're not only giving a memorization course, you're giving something that is why don't they have Shay in the list of things you should be doing in your acting stuff? And I mean that because from point A to point B, when you walk out of that room and go, wow, shit, that guy was like, or gal was like, perfect. And I don't even, can they come back? Make them wanting more. That's really, you're giving all these little pearls of wisdom about emotional delivery, about where you're going, about about beats. And I'm obviously very excited about your program, but I'm saying this because we need to have this, and I'm going to get it in the school system.
I hope so. I would love for more, people that are studying in school and stuff to know this stuff as well. It would be helpful for them because, yeah, the demands there are high, and the demands when you're out auditioning are very high. And I know I've definitely heard a lot of actors complaining about how they'll get auditions last minute, and it's a ton of pages.
Yeah, and they don't care.
Several scenes. Yeah, and they're just expected to just churn it out, and the turnaround time is like a day or two or something, and they got to put it on tape, right? And it's like, whoa, like, do you think I'm a robot or something?
Do I look like a Jeopardy champion?
Right.
Hey, we're talking to Joyce Shea, and she is an actor and creator of Off Book, and it is offbookit.com, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, it is. Are you on Instagram at all?
I am at offbookit on Instagram.
I'm going to fix that. While you tell us a little bit more about, just tell me us a little bit more about the program, what you're going to do, what you're going to get, and just talk a little bit about it while I put this up in your lower thirds here. So
yeah,
tell
sure.
me, tell us a little about that. You have three different not levels, but ways of doing this. If you don't want to jump into the last one, which by the way, I looked at the last one, I'm like, I just want to pay to hang out with you. I know something, osmosis. I know something's got to rub off. But please tell us about it, please.
Yeah, there's a few different options. So in my course, I teach how to memorize monologues and scenes. I start with contemporary text because, that's what most people are going to be auditioning for. So I teach how to memorize a contemporary monologue, how to memorize a contemporary scene. And then I do Shakespeare as well. So if there's folks out there that are interested in Shakespeare or they're interested in theater, I teach, how to memorize a Shakespeare monologue and how to memorize a Shakespeare scene. And so that's like the full version where you get that whole package. And then, if you want to do coaching with me, I do that as well. I do one-on-one coaching.
Let's talk about that, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
and I'll let you continue. I'm sorry, I'm so excited about what we're doing that I'm over here like really probably shotgunning or machine gunning a lot of questions. I hope you don't mind.
No problem.
The in person, because I am definitely thinking that I need to get signed up for that, because one thing that I noticed in what I'm at the point where you started to, I think I'm in like fourth or fifth. And you basically we went through the memorization stuff, which I know because of whatever. What I will tell you is that I do, and I remembered this at one point, and when you said it, I'm like, oh yeah, the story version with the pictures connecting, and you say be bold, be weird, be whatever. And that's true because, again, the reason why you a lot of times remember things is because it's really odd. And you saw it and you're like, I will never forget that. And that's, the truth. But what happens in a one-on-one, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, sure. So I ask my student to bring a scene that they want to work on with me. It can be a scene or a monologue. Maybe it's they have an audition and they want to prepare for it, or maybe they're taking a class and they want to, bring something to work on.
Right.
So I always want to work on something specific.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so we can get into the nitty gritty. So, I like that I have my course that kind of teaches them the method, but then, we can do one-on-one coaching where we kind of delve into like a specific text and kind of do it together, and so you can see how it works like in action.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I'll interject this and say, I think one of the things that's daunting about anything like this is that we're not dealing in the known. We're dealing in the unknown. And again, I hate to say this, but in my 40 years of being an actor, one of the things I've noticed recently, and that's why I have this show and I do as much as I do, is that I find that sometimes actors are now being lazy. And that's not anything new. I'll be in my dressing room. Where are my red M&Ms? point is, and when I started off in theater, and spent about 30 years in theater and musical theater and all this stuff, and I was the actor in the beginning, and I'm like, oh, I would never do like stage manager. I'd never do anything behind the scenes, or yeah, I'll be in my dressing room, and they go, yeah, why don't you work on your lines? The point is that. I find a lot of actors nowadays that I work with, younger actors, I hate to say it, they're going to kill me for this, but they tend to just think that they're going to press a button and it's going to go. And I love the fact that when you do a one-on-one with you, is that you're going, again, this is the daunting part, is that I'm listening to your thing going, this is exciting. But I still am sitting there thinking, but I can't wait for the part where you go, here, pick up the script, you're going to do this. I'm right now, I'm going to get done with the show and start watching it again. And I love the fact that you're doing the actual videotape and not just making me read PDFs, which, by the way, you get to download. So the point is that I want that because I think everybody ultimately wants something that when they do get their sides, they can look at it, or their script, so they can look at it and go, A, B, C, D.
Yes.
This is what I've determined with what Joyce has said is going to work best for me. That's exciting. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. I have had students come, they say to me, this is great because now I have a system that I can rely on and I know it works. And whenever I get a new script, I just go boom, boom, boom. I know exactly what to do.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that was what my goal was in, creating the course and creating my method, is like giving people a step-by-step method that they could follow. And, at the same time, I did want it to be flexible, though. So, not everybody is exactly the same.
No.
And some people have preferences. And so I try to, lay things out in a step-by-step way so that it's like, yeah, you can follow exactly how I do it. But if you find you kind of want to play with something or like modify something a little bit, you can totally do that and, figure out if you like that better or something.
Right.
So,
do you think that, I think one thing that I think people think, because I did in any of these things, is that, well, okay, so I normally would just sit there and read it a bunch, and I would just read it, and I do it on my lines, and I'm like, and it's funny because you don't translate that into time. But now I'm looking at where someone's telling me, if you do these different steps, and you do these things, you're going to be able to break down your time. But I got to do all these extra things and all this other stuff. Does that subject come up at all?
I don't know if anyone's ever, said that to me, but I definitely know what you mean, where it's like, it is, you are putting your mental energy into it.
And you're retraining yourself.
Yeah. And that is actually part of it, actually, in cognitive psychology, part of what helps with learning and to make things stick is actually mental effort. So if things are actually too passive and too easy, it's just not going to stick.
No.
So like it actually takes a bit more of that effort to like stimulate your mind to be like, oh, this is actually important. I need to like, try to grapple with this and like make connections to other things and like, incorporate it into my understanding.
Sure.
So yeah, there is a mental effort part of that. And yeah, I mean, we should be willing to do that.
Yeah. Well, again, I say to you, again, most of the people I talk to, and my whole motto of the show is that people forget that business isn't the word show business. With that being said, do you have a few more minutes? I have to take a break. I want to do something and then come back. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool. You're awesome. Hang tight. We're talking to Joyce Shea, and I'm so excited to be able to say her name right, and it looks so easy once you know it. I'm going to take a small little break here and just talk about some stuff. I had one of the other guests that was going to be on. I'm sure we'll pick them up in the next time. I usually only do like a half-hour show, but I tend to find that, when we get on a roll, that I'm just so excited to do this. My hat, I'm having a hard time. My mirroring on my string. Yeah. This, by the way, is from the Magic Castle. I'm a magician, professional magician, so I went there last night and saw a good friend of mine. And they were very safe. I'm very glad to say that they were very, conscious of all that stuff. Let's talk a little bit really quickly. I want to bring up to you one thing that I think that's really important, and I'm going to go into it right now. And that's Tech Talk. Okay, so here's the deal. I have said to actors that ever since the I started in 81, something like that, and I've always been really like gadget. I'm like a MacGyver dude. I really am. I can take chewing gum and make you a hot air balloon. And the point is that I think that's just a really great tool. And again, today is a tool day with Joyce on the show talking about tools to being a better actor. I just am like floored, honestly. We'll go back to this about the fact that it just dawns on me that why isn't this being taught in acting? What an accelerator it would be for most actors if they could just get this, because that's the thing. People get nervous. You know what the biggest nerve-wracking thing in the whole world is? And I'm a keynote speaker. It's speaking. And, you know, I don't worry about it because I just, know my thing. I'm up there doing it and I'm spinning a rope because I do all my different things. But it's nerve-wracking. And so anyway, that's that. So the tech part today that we're going to show is this thing. It's called Shift Cam. And I want you to see this because, look, I've become an expert at shooting on my iPhones. And I've gotten each one. This is the 13 Pro Max, which shoots cinema, which is so awesome because I can do a thing here called rack focus, so I can shoot it. And the cool thing about the 13 Pro Max, I'm just telling you, I'm not selling any of this stuff. I make no money off of it, is that you can shoot it. And I sent one of these to a client the other day, and they're like, well, Will, I saw you and I saw the product in the background because I do a bunch of different things in my studio. And they go, but you're blurred. I'm like, yeah, but check it out. Put it in editing and put the square in my face. And it rack focuses, which means that it becomes clear here and in the back it's not. And you could do this on this. It's awesome. But this company is called Shift Cam. And I have lenses that you can put in that screw in because there's a little module there. And then this goes in here. And the cool thing about this is that you can hold it. It's not going to drop. You can also do this and shift cam and do it like that. Isn't that cool? And it has a battery pack in it. And it also has Bluetooth. I mean, it's got all that in a bag of chips. And I wish I would have had this when I shot one of my films when I was in Brazil, and we shot this film I did, this short, because, man, this is just so much easier to hold. It's called Shift Cam. I make no money. I'm just telling you as an actor. By the way, you can tripod it. It has another little handhold thing. It has a shoe here to put a microphone in. I love this thing. And if I wasn't married, I'd probably marry it. Oh, God. So that's the tip for that. One last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the marketing of yourself. I have 2 new agents. I've been talking to them, and they went, wow, that thing you did, that flash demo. I call it a flash demo. We all have demos, right? And, well, you should. If you don't, okay, good luck on that career. But the fact of the matter is that I created one called a flash demo, which is like 46 seconds. I could do one that's 5 minutes of all the different stuff I've done. Done stuff with Robert Downey Jr., The Ellen Show, the whatever. And I could put them all in there and do that. But you know what? Let's be honest. They're not watching them. They're not watching them because as I was talking to my agent, she's like, oh yeah, get a picture with your cowboy hat because I'm a professional cowboy because I know, they don't have any imaginations. So with that being said, I created this little marketing tip. And in the beginning, you're going to see me talking and saying some things because I created a little ad that looked like it was selling casting directors furniture to make their place look better. And it said, click here to see how to be a successful casting director. And when they did, let me pull it up, see if I can find it. Here it is. It looked like this. Hey, thanks for clicking the banner. Now, I know you're dying to know what it is that makes a successful casting office or director or production. And the answer is actors. See, you can have a great script, great casting director, a director, producer, but here's the problem. You always need good actors. To be or not to be. But let's face it, there's way too many of us. And we can't market to you, which is odd considering that they call it show business, and that means that there's business in the show. We can't call you. We can't send you an email. We just submit to the breakdowns like the other 4,800 that submitted to you on that casting call with no action-packed pitch letter, sales letter, and all we do is stand in line and remain quiet. Let's be honest. Lines are for Starbucks, not for careers. If I still have your attention, I want you to watch this next 46-second video. Now don't go away, because there's a quiz after this.
Detective Gennaro. I need to speak with Rex Wilson.
Rex is already out there on the speedway for his practice run.
You know what I mean.
Now let me see your shotgun.
Here, cool it down.
Just like your old man, huh?
Is there a problem, soldier? I'm asking you a question, Lieutenant.
Running in clown shoes. This is gonna be fun.
Time! What if they need more time? That wasn't so painful. And I even saw a couple of you laughing. So if you like what you saw, operators are standing by.
Yeah, Will Roberts
he's an
is
A-lister
great.
for sure.
Oh, you want to book him?
That's my agent. And if you didn't like my approach, well, I'm Daniel Craig, and I hope you enjoyed this commercial. All right, so there it is. Anyway, let's get back to the show. Look, all I'm telling you is that become creative, do your own thing, because if you're sitting around for people to deliver the scripts that make you look amazing, let's be honest, when you get sides, they didn't write it for you. Okay, so find the thing that you do the best and create it, and really, keep yourself in, the public eye and in front of people's faces, because that's what it's all about. All right, back to our show. So anyway, here we go. All right. Welcome back, Joyce. So, with that being said, I just want to see if there's any other pearls of wisdom, or you can tell us that. I know we can go to the website and be able to check it out. There are 3 different levels of payment types and commitments. One where you can just get sort of the overall method. Then there's the one with more stuff in it, and then there's the one with the private lessons. And then you did say, where do you find the masterclass thing so you can kind of check it out and go, ooh, my gosh, now I really want to do it.
Yeah. So I have a free masterclass that's available. It's, pre-recorded, it's on demand, it's on my website. It's at offbookit.com/masterclass.
Oh, okay.
It's called Memorizing Lines the Smart Way. And so you'll get a lot of really good tips just in that masterclass that'll get you started. You can use them today. You can start using them today and see if they work for you. So there's a lot of great tips in there.
It's / what now? Masterclass?
Yep.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Offbookit.com/masterclass.
That, right? Oh, not my masterclass. We're going to wrap it. Sorry about that. There you are. I think that's it, right? Masterclass?
Yep.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. So you actually are giving some tips and saying, here, give it a shot.
Yeah. There's a lot of great starter tips that people can start implementing that are actually just like small adjustments, but they're actually really powerful. I can even, drop some tips if you want right now.
No, we'll have you come back on.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not giving anybody anything right now, other than the fact that they're just going to sit there and go, oh my God, I should check this out. But I will say, let me ask you, in the program, if people, actors, or I'm assuming speech people too, keynote speakers or whatever, if they wanted to, in the program, when you're with it, can you email and go, look, can you help me? I'm a thought on this. Are you open to that type of thing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I try to make myself as available as possible to my students. You can always email me directly. I'm Joyce at offbookit, or DM me on Instagram at offbookit. Yeah.
Offbookit, great. Now, I always ask people at the end of the show if they don't mind giving us a bit of free advice, the best 4-letter word in the English language. I don't care if this is about life. I don't care if it's about how to make a bundt cake. I don't care if it's how to fix a 68 Mustang, or it's about acting. It doesn't matter. Whatever you feel that you are most passionate about, if you could just think, and I'm giving you enough time here to collect that, and just give us some sort of free bit of wisdom, that would be wonderful. It's all you.
Yeah. So I think, the biggest thing when it comes to, line memorization stuff is kind of breaking through the mindset portion, because I think we kind of get this message sometimes that if you have a bad memory, that it's just something you were born with and you're stuck with, that it's just a fixed talent, whether you have it or not. But, my message has always been that this is actually a skill that you can improve if you just, learn the right way to do it. So, get rid of that fixed mindset and adopt a growth mindset that you can always get better. That would be my message. Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. Really appreciate you coming on the show, and I will try to twist your arm to come back on again, just because, this is a fundamental absolute that I'm just, again, it's kind of like riding a bicycle, but you got to get on it, and someone has to teach you, unless you just want to fall and skin your knee a bunch. Which is what we all do. But again, I really appreciate all that you've done. If you want to check out more from Joyce, go to offbookit.com. And of course, /masterclass. I believe it's probably a lowercase thing. Just check it out. Either way, doesn't matter. Check it out. The story will be on, of course, filmfestivallive.com and all of our going to our film festivals, just because I think this is such a very important thing. One last thing I want to ask you is that do you think that with the off-book-it system as well, that it helps people in regular life with regular confidence in their memorization or remembering where the hell their keys were?
Absolutely. You can apply those things to all kinds of stuff, Like, I think you already know from taking other memory courses that they tend to teach things like how to memorize a grocery list or how to memorize where your keys are, and, very practical everyday kind of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can definitely apply those same things
that's
in other
fantastic.
realms.
Yeah, I got tired of stapling my keys to my forehead. You can see it right there. Or my wife or my kids would go, "Where is it, Dad?" Yeah, let's go. Let's make this an adventure. Anyway, where's the remote? I didn't have it last. Anyway, Joyce, I appreciate it, Joyce Shea, and thanks very much. Hang on, if you don't mind. I want to say proper goodbye to you, but I'm going to finish up. All right, everybody, that is the show. I'm very excited. And so, look, I'm not kidding you. We'll put this stuff on the website. And I hate to say I'm going to be corny, but get yourself out of the shade. And find your light into memorization of your lines. And I am very excited myself that I made a commitment to myself that I was going to do a couple of things in the new year. They're not resolutions, they're just matter of facts, just because I have some things that I think are going to be popping soon. And with that being said, I really would hate to get a script this long and go brr, 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 because you've got to keep yourself sharper than the other tools in the shed. Because if you've been doing this even 5 years, you know that, like I said in my little bit there, that the breakdowns, I used to go when I was in the San Francisco area, and I remember you go up commercial or a regular thing is like 50, 100 people. Well, now it's 4,800 people. I talked to casting directors and they went, "Oh yeah, how do you decide?" Well, first come, first serve. And I mean it. I mean, come on. If you got 4,800 people submitting you for Westworld, of course, there might be some preferential treatment if they know you, whatever the case may be. It's all about networking. But the fact is that if you get it in first because you've got your system and you know it and you turn it, burn it, and you're in a great studio and you make your stuff look good, it's your business to be in this business the right way. So I highly recommend this. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. Never spend a dull moment by challenging yourself. And take a look at the website, Film Festival Live. And we will see you next week. Be safe, be well, and be successful. Bye.